The distress signal cut through the void of deep space, its anguished plea rippling across the human colonies. Within the command center of the Central Fleet, Admiral Natasha Ivanova's brow furrowed as she listened to the desperate cries for aid. "Repeat that message, Lieutenant," she ordered, her steely gaze fixed on the holographic display. The young officer's fingers danced across the console. "The message is coming from the Venla homeworld, ma'am. They're under heavy assault by the Hunters, a brutal alien conqueror species. The Venla are outmatched and on the verge of annihilation. They're begging for any assistance we can provide." Ivanova's jaw tightened. The Venla were a relatively young race, technologically inferior and ill-equipped for the rigors of interstellar warfare. That they had the courage to send out this call for help spoke volumes. "Patch me through to the other fleet commanders," she said decisively. "Time is of the essence." Within the hour, Ivanova had assembled a council of her most seasoned officers. As the holographic displays flickered to life, she leveled a grave look across the table. "You've all heard the distress call from the Venlo. They're facing extinction at the hands of the Hunters, and they've reached out to us for aid." A grizzled veteran, Admiral Mikhail Petrov, leaned forward. "The Hunters? Nasty bunch. I've heard tales of their ruthless conquests. If the Venlo are truly as outmatched as the message suggests, we may be their only hope." Ivanova nodded. "Precisely. And I, for one, am not about to let an entire sentient species be wiped out on our watch. So we go in and save the day, is that it?" Another commander interjected, his tone laced with skepticism. "The Hunters are a powerful force. Engaging them directly could be suicide." "Perhaps." Ivanova's gaze swept across the table. "But we humans have a long history of rising to the occasion, of never backing down from a challenge, no matter the odds. And the Venlo are counting on us." A hush fell over the assembled officers as they contemplated her words. Humanity's reputation as the most formidable warriors in the known galaxy was well-earned, forged through generations of hardship and triumph on their Deathworld homeworld. If any race could turn the tide against the Hunters, it would be the Deathworlders. Finally, Petrov cleared his throat. "I, for one, am ready to answer the call. The Venlo deserve a fighting chance, and I'll be damned if we let them down." One by one, the other commanders voiced their agreement, their eyes burning with the familiar fire of battle. Ivanova allowed herself a small smile. "Then it's settled. We mobilize our most elite forces immediately. The Hunters are about to learn a harsh lesson. You don't mess with the Deathworlders." As the meeting adjourned, Ivanova paused, considering the weight of their decision. Engaging the Hunters directly was a risky proposition, but she knew her people would rise to the challenge. After all, humanity had been forged in the crucible of their unforgiving homeworld. They were no strangers to adversity. With a steely resolve, she turned and strode from the chamber, already mentally preparing her forces for the coming conflict. The Venlo had reached out, and the Deathworlders would answer. The human fleet emerged from the warp drive, their sleek warships cutting through the void like predators on the hunt. Ivanova stood on the bridge of the flagship, her gaze sweeping across the tactical displays as her officers relayed a steady stream of information. "We're picking up heavy enemy concentrations in the Venlo capital system," one of them reported. "The Hunters have them surrounded and are pummeling their defenses relentlessly." Ivanova's eyes narrowed. "Then we don't have a moment to lose. Helm, take us in at maximum thrust. I want our forces deployed and engaging the enemy within the hour." As the fleet surged forward, the Venlo defenders caught sight of the approaching human ships, their communication channels erupting with a mix of hope and disbelief. Ivanova's voice crackled over the open frequency. "This is Admiral Natasha Ivanova of the Human Central Fleet. We've received your distress call and are here to lend our assistance. Hold your position. Reinforcements are on the way." The Venlo commander's reply was laced with a mixture of gratitude and trepidation. "We welcome your aid, humans, but the Hunters are relentless. I fear we may not last much longer." Ivanova's expression hardened. "Then we'll have to make sure we arrive in time." As the fleet closed in on the beleaguered Venlo homeworld, The hunters caught sight of the newcomers and immediately redirected their attention. Massive plasma cannons blazed to life, unleashing a withering barrage of fire that the humans met head-on. Ivanova's officers braced themselves, but to their surprise, the human ships weathered the assault with ease, their advanced shields and armor deflecting the hunters' attacks. Then, with a sudden burst of speed, the humans surged forward, their devastating railguns and particle beam weapons carving a path through the enemy formations. The Venlo watched in awe as the Deathworlders unleashed their legendary martial prowess. Entire hunter vessels were torn apart with effortless precision, their crews vanishing in bright flashes of light. The humans moved with a grace and coordination that belied their immense strength, their tactics and strategies honed to a razor's edge. As the battle raged, the Venlo commander could scarcely believe his eyes. "By the gods, they're actually doing it," he murmured, his voice tinged with wonder. "The hunters are retreating." Indeed, the once confident conquerors were now in full retreat, their vaunted fleets crumbling under the onslaught of the Deathworlders. Ivanova's eyes narrowed as she observed the enemy's disorderly withdrawal. "Don't let them escape," she barked. "Pursue them relentlessly and leave no survivors. The hunters will learn the true price of defying the might of humanity." The human ships surged forward, their weapons blazing. Wave after wave of hunter vessels were methodically destroyed, their crippled hulks drifting helplessly in the void. The Venlo fighters, inspired by this display of raw power, joined the pursuit, their own attacks adding to the devastation. Finally, with the hunters in full retreat, Ivanova ordered her forces to hold. She watched as the last of the enemy's ships vanished into the distance, a small smile playing across her lips. "Well done, all of you," she said, addressing her bridge crew. "The Venlo are safe, and the hunters have been taught a valuable lesson. You don't mess with the Deathworlders." A cheer went up from the crew, their triumph evident in their voices. Ivanova allowed herself a moment of satisfaction, but she knew this was only the beginning. The hunters would not forget this defeat, and they would surely return, more determined than ever. But for now, the Deathworlders had answered the call, and the galaxy was about to witness the full might of humanity. As the smoke cleared and the Venlo defenders emerged from their shelters, they were greeted by an awe-inspiring sight. The Deathworlders' towering warships hovered majestically over the planet, their sleek lines and formidable weaponry a stark contrast to the Venlo's own modest spacecraft. Venlo Commander Bala'ak, his fur still singed from the battle, approached the human flagship with a mixture of reverence and trepidation. When the airlock hissed open, he was met by the steely gaze of Admiral Ivanova herself. "On behalf of the Venlo people, I extend our deepest gratitude for your timely intervention," Bala'ak said, his voice tinged with wonder. "We would not have survived without your aid." Ivanova inclined her head in acknowledgement. "The Deathworlders were happy to answer your call, Commander. We could not sit idly by while a fellow sentient race faced annihilation." Bala'ak's ears perked up at the mention of the Deathworlders. "Ah, yes, the legends surrounding your people. We've heard tales of your unparalleled martial prowess, but to witness it firsthand." He shook his head, his eyes reflecting a mixture of awe and unease. Ivanova's lips quirked in a wry smile. "Rest assured, Commander, the humans are not to be trifled with, but our strength is not merely physical. It is also in our minds, our ingenuity, and our unwavering determination." The Venlo commander nodded slowly. "I see that now. Your tactics, your technology, it is all so advanced, so beyond anything we could have imagined. If only we had such capabilities, we might have stood a chance against the hunters on our own." Ivanova's expression softened. "Then perhaps this presents an opportunity for us to forge a lasting alliance. We Deathworlders would be honored to share our knowledge and resources to help elevate your people to a position of strength and self-reliance." Bala'ak's eyes widened, his tail twitching with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "An alliance with humanity?" he breathed. "Such a thing would be." He paused, searching for the right words. "It would be a game-changer for our people." "Indeed it would," Ivanova agreed. "The hunters will not rest until they have conquered your world. But together, We can ensure that they never set foot on Venlo Prime again." The Venlo commander's expression hardened with newfound determination. "Then you have our unwavering commitment, Admiral. Whatever it takes, we will stand beside you and fight for our freedom." Ivanova extended her hand, and Balak grasped it firmly, sealing the alliance. As the two leaders parted ways, the Venlo fighters took to the skies once more, their weapons primed and their spirits renewed. In the weeks that followed, the human and Venlo forces launched a coordinated counteroffensive, combining their strengths to devastating effect. The hunters, caught off guard by this newfound alliance, found themselves outmatched at every turn. Their vaunted fleets were systematically dismantled, their supply lines disrupted, and their foothold on Venlo Prime gradually eroded. The Venlo marveled at the humans' advanced technology, their unorthodox combat strategies, and their sheer resilience. They eagerly absorbed every lesson, every piece of knowledge that their new allies shared, transforming themselves into formidable warriors in their own right. As the tide of the battle turned, the Venlo realized that this alliance with the Deathworlders was not just about survival. It was about forging a new path, one where they could stand tall and proud, no longer beholden to the whims of their conquerors. The galaxy, it seemed, was about to bear witness to the rise of a formidable new power, one forged in the crucible of war and tempered by the unyielding spirit of humanity. With the hunters reeling from their defeat on Venlo Prime, the Human-Venlo Alliance pressed their advantage, launching a series of lightning strikes across the conquerors' occupied territories. Ivanova's fleets surged through the warp drives, emerging in system after system to find the hunters' grip on the local population slipping. The Venlo fighters, now equipped with the humans' advanced weaponry and tactical training, swarmed the enemy vessels, their newfound confidence and skill turning the tide of every engagement. On the ground, the liberated alien populations rose up, casting off the shackles of oppression and joining the fight alongside their Deathworlder saviors. Armed with the humans' advanced technology and guided by their strategic expertise, the once downtrodden masses transformed into formidable guerrilla forces, systematically dismantling the hunters' hold on their homeworlds. Ivanova watched the reports with a growing sense of pride, her eyes gleaming with a fierce determination. "The hunters never saw this coming," she murmured, a small smile playing across her lips. "They thought they could subjugate these people forever, but they underestimated the power of a just cause and the unyielding spirit of the Deathworlders." As the campaign progressed, the Venlo commander, Balak, became a constant presence at Ivanova's side, his admiration for the humans only growing with each passing day. "Your people are truly remarkable," he said, his voice tinged with wonder as they observed the latest liberation. "The way you've uplifted us, empowered us to stand against our oppressors, it is beyond anything I could have imagined." Ivanova inclined her head. "We Deathworlders understand the value of freedom, Balak. It is a principle we have fought for, bled for, and died for throughout our history, and we will not rest until the entire galaxy is liberated from the hunter's tyranny." The Venlo commander's ears perked up. "Then you mean to continue this crusade, to free all the worlds under the hunter's control?" "That is precisely our intention," Ivanova confirmed. "The hunters have held sway for far too long. It is time for a new order to emerge, one built on the principles of cooperation, mutual respect, and the unwavering spirit of humanity." Balak's eyes widened, his tail twitching with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "You truly believe we can succeed against such a formidable foe? The hunters have conquered countless worlds, amassed a vast empire." Ivanova's gaze hardened. "And we will dismantle it, piece by piece. With the Venlo and other liberated races at our side, we will forge an unstoppable alliance, one that will reshape the very fabric of the galaxy." The Venlo commander nodded, his expression resolute. "Then you have my unwavering commitment, Admiral. Our people will follow you to the ends of the universe, if need be." And so, the Human-Venlo Alliance set forth, their fleet swelling with the ships and fighters of the newly liberated worlds. World after world was freed from the hunter's grip, the oppressed populations welcoming their saviors with open arms. Ivanova and her officers shared their knowledge freely, uplifting the fledgling races and transforming them into formidable powers in their own right. Together, they honed their tactics, their technologies, and their resolve, each victory only strengthening the bonds of their alliance. As news of their triumph spread like wildfire through the galaxy, the Deathworlders' reputation only grew, cementing their status as the most respected and feared warriors in the cosmos. The galaxy would never be the same, for the humans had answered the call, and a new era of liberation and cooperation was about to begin. The news of the Deathworlders' triumph on Venlo Prime rippled through the galaxy like a shockwave, captivating the attention of races both allied and adversarial. Tales of the humans' devastating onslaught against the Hunters, and their subsequent forging of a powerful alliance with the once downtrodden Venlo, spread like wildfire. In the halls of power, leaders from across the known worlds watched the unfolding events with a mixture of awe and trepidation. The Deathworlders, it seemed, had established themselves as a force to be reckoned with, their martial prowess and strategic acumen unmatched by any other. On the Hunters' home world, the ruling caste convened in a state of growing panic, their once unassailable grip on the galaxy now slipping through their claws. They had underestimated the humans, dismissing them as little more than primitives, and now they faced the prospect of a reckoning the likes of which their species had never known. This alliance with the Venlo, one of the Hunters' high commanders growled, his eyes narrowed with barely contained fury. It changes everything. We must strike back, crush this newfound resistance before it spreads any further. But the more cautious members of the ruling council argued against such reckless action. The Deathworlders have already shown their ability to devastate our forces. Any direct confrontation would be suicide. We must tread carefully, find a way to undermine this alliance from within. As the Hunters debated their next move, the human Venlo coalition continued its relentless march across the galaxy, liberating world after world from the Conqueror's grip. Ivanova's fleet, now bolstered by the ships and fighters of their newfound allies, carved a path of destruction through the Hunters' occupied territories, their advanced weaponry and unorthodox tactics proving to be an unstoppable combination. The liberated populations welcomed their saviors with open arms, their once downtrodden spirits renewed by the promise of a brighter future. Under the guidance of the Deathworlders, they quickly adapted to the humans' advanced technologies, transforming themselves into formidable powers in their own right. As the campaign progressed, Ivanova's reputation only grew, her name whispered with equal parts reverence and trepidation throughout the known worlds. The humans, it seemed, had truly risen to the occasion, fulfilling their role as the galaxy's protectors and champions of the oppressed. The Deathworlders have made their mark, Balak remarked to Ivanova, his eyes shining with pride. Your people has shown us the true meaning of strength, of courage, of unwavering determination. The galaxy will never be the same. Ivanova inclined her head, a small smile playing across her lips. Indeed, my friend, the humans have always been forged in the crucible of adversity, and we will not rest until every sentient being in this galaxy knows the true might of humanity. News of the Deathworlders' triumph and the formation of this unstoppable alliance spread like wildfire, captivating the attention of races across the known worlds. Some watched with awe, others with trepidation, as the balance of power in the galaxy began to shift. The Hunters, once the unquestioned masters of their domain, now found themselves on the defensive, their vast empire crumbling in the face of this new force. And as the Deathworlders continued their relentless advance, other races, both allies and adversaries, took note. The galaxy would never be the same. For the humans had answered the call, and they had done so with a fury and determination that would echo through the ages. The Deathworlders had solidified their status as the most respected and feared warriors in the cosmos, and their rise would forever reshape the course of galactic history.